what's up? I just want to give you a friendly reminder that this week, today is Friday, is the last day, okay, to go to my website, letstalkdarling.com, hit up my merch store, get merch using the 25% off discount code gratitude when you check out. But this week is the last week to make sure that your order ships in time to get it for Christmas. So if you're ordering merch for somebody as a gift, make sure you get in there between now and Saturday and place that order. Again, use the code gratitude and you will get 25% off, and you can use it over and over and over again until I believe next weekend. And yeah, that's it. So make sure to go to my website at letstalkdarling.com. Hit up the merch store, pick up some Christmas gifts. I have new merch on there. I try to put something up new every week. So check it out, buy something, and let's get into this episode. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye. Hey, guys. What's up? Welcome back to my channel. All right. So today we're going to talk about an interesting story. I haven't seen it spread across the news too much, but I still wanted to talk about it. I did it for Onyx News this morning, and I was reading into it a little bit more, and I was like, you know what, this would be a really interesting one to talk about, so I'm going to bring it to you so we can discuss it. So let's talk. So today's story is about a couple, Wesley Maribe and Courtney Peterson. They are originally from Hawaii, and they were actually traveling from, I believe, Seattle, and going back home to Hawaii, and got arrested when they got in Hawaii for traveling knowing that they had COVID, okay? Now, they were traveling with their 4-year-old son, and their son actually got taken by CPS, okay? So let me give you the details of this trip, okay? And then we'll get into my thoughts on it, all right? So, like I said, they are from Hawaii. Now, there is a travel requirement when you're in Hawaii. Well, I say requirement loosely because I'm going to give you the details of this, and I'm really interested to hear what you think. But if you live in Hawaii and you want to travel, okay, you're perfectly fine to travel outside of Hawaii. However, before you come back to Hawaii, they strongly advise you to take a COVID test upon coming back. Now, you must take this COVID test at least 72 hours, or you have to have the results at least 72 hours before you travel. And it has to be with a trusted travel partner, the testing location. So they have a list on their website. Now, if you choose, because again, I said very important word here is advice. If you choose not to take a test when you arrive in Hawaii, and you do not present them with a negative COVID test, you are then required to do a 14-day quarantine, okay? I'm still really murky on how they actually enforce these quarantines and how they're actually making sure that people stay in their houses. If you live in one of these cities, or you live in Hawaii and they require you to quarantine upon arrival, let me know if you have some detail on how they actually enforce the quarantine, or if they're just trusting you to self-quarantine, okay? So the details of the COVID test, the approved test that they use is a nucleic acid amplification test, which provides them with results within 1 to 2 days, okay? So that means that when you are traveling, you have to think ahead of time where you're going to get this test, what day you're going to test. Some locations book up very, very quickly. In fact, this couple left from Seattle, and I believe there is maybe 1 or 2 locations in Seattle that do this particular test in the city of Seattle by the airport. And it books up really, really quickly. So you actually have to get up pretty early, days in advance, make your appointment to go get your COVID test. And if you're just getting one of these tests for travel, I believe it's something like $129 for the test per person. The only time the test is for free is if you have active symptoms of COVID, okay? So that's important to mention. But in regards to Wesley and Courtney, the couple here that we're talking about, they supposedly did go do a test when they were leaving Seattle. Okay, so they did their test. Now, when they left Seattle, they did not have the results of the test, but that's okay because they don't have to have them until they get to Hawaii. They didn't have the results of the test. However, the article, and I'm going to link it below, is claiming that when they arrived to San Francisco, they were given the news that their test results were positive and they still chose to get on the plane. Now, the article also states that a representative for the San Francisco airport stated that none of their people interacted with this couple. Okay, so San Francisco airport is saying that nobody there interacted with this couple, which leads me to believe nobody there gave them their test results unless the test results are texted to you in some way, which I don't know that. Okay, I guess it depends on the location that you go to. So the couple got on the plane allegedly knowing that they had COVID. Okay, and then they get to Hawaii. And by that point, the Center for Disease Control had uploaded the results into the system, which is protocol. That's what they have to do, and notified them that this couple was going to be arriving in Hawaii. And when they got off the plane, they were arrested. They were booked in jail with a $1,000 fine. Their son was taken by CPS, obviously because they couldn't care after him or take care of him. They met their bail, were released, but now they face up to 1 year in jail and a $2,000 fine. Okay. Oh, sorry. They were charged with second-degree reckless endangerment charges. Okay. So here's the questions that I have. Okay. Number one, I believe that they're going, San Francisco or whoever took the test or whoever has the burden to prove, okay, that the process worked the way that it should and that somebody did notify this couple or San Francisco airport, whether it was verbally or through the system, okay, that this couple had a positive COVID test, because how else were they going to know? That's number one, okay? Now, I have not seen any interviews with this couple clearly because they've been in jail, okay, but they have not released any statements. So that's number one. I have to say they're going to have to prove that this couple really was aware. They're stating they were aware, and they're stating that they got on the plane knowingly that they had COVID. But they still have to, it has to be proven in a court of law. Okay, number two, this is my other question. The rules of the Safe Travel Program in Hawaii state it is advised that you take a test prior to arriving in Hawaii, okay? Advised, not required. And it says if you do not have a test showing that you are negative, then you have to quarantine, okay? So tell me why it's okay or how it makes it any different that you choose not to take a test and you just say, well, I live in Hawaii, I'll quarantine for 14 days, no big deal, okay? It's different if you're just visiting there on vacation because then you have to factor in a 14-day quarantine into your vacation. But this couple lives in Hawaii, okay? So why they didn't just go, well, I'll just not take a test and then quarantine in Hawaii. Now, that doesn't mean that they don't have COVID. That just means that they're choosing not to take a test, okay? They could very well have COVID, but Hawaii states once you get back home, you have to quarantine for 14 days, okay? So what is the difference there? You could still knowingly pass COVID, okay? The only difference I see is that they're claiming this couple knew their test results were positive and they got on the plane knowing they had COVID. So there is what the crime is that they knowingly, that's where the reckless endangerment comes in. Okay, my third and final point. I don't know if I said I had 2 points, but I actually have 3. Okay, and this is the biggest one. The airport requires you to wear a mask. They enforce it heavily. Okay, my children just traveled from Dallas to Miami, and I confirmed it is heavily enforced in the airport, in every airport that they went in, okay? In addition, it is heavily enforced on the aircraft that you wear a mask. Now, this particular couple flew United Airlines, and they have a very strict mask policy. If you do not comply with the mask, you can be put on a no-fly list for every airport, every airline, okay? So the masks are enforced, okay? So I am assuming that this couple was wearing a mask in the airport, was wearing a mask on the airplane. In addition, I assume everybody else in the airport was wearing a mask and everybody else on the airplane was wearing a mask. So my point is, if everybody was wearing a mask, even if this couple had COVID, why are we worried about it? I thought masks worked. I thought masks protect you from the COVID. Why are we making a big deal about this? Why are we taking people's kids away? Why are we arresting people? Why? Why are we charging people with reckless endangerment? Because they chose to take a test and you claim that they had the results in time to not get on the flight, versus somebody who chooses not to take the test and may or may not get on a flight, having COVID and possibly spreading it just as easily as this couple could have. But again, if the masks work, why are we worried? So I bring this up because, once again, it just points to the nonsense of this whole COVID crisis, overreaction, of shutting things down, not allowing people to travel by foot, car, or airplane in some states, okay? Telling people that they can't go worship in their church, telling kids they can't go to school, telling people they can't go outside and enjoy things, that they have to wear a mask everywhere they go. But yet, COVID is not as contagious when you are rioting and looting. Why is that? COVID is not as dangerous when you're at a football game or an NBA game or a baseball game. Why is that? Does anybody ask those questions? I'm asking those questions. I'm putting them out here for you guys, and I'm telling you this story as an example. If you are a logical person, this has to cause some type of question in your mind as to what is really going on here. I want to make it clear. I am not saying that COVID is not a real virus. It is a real virus. I've personally had it. I'm just saying it's not as bad as what people are making it out to be. This whole mask craze, this whole shutdown craze is about something else. It is not about protecting you from a virus. So I want to know what you guys think in the comments box below. Do you think what happened to this couple was justified? Do you think it was over the top? Have you traveled in and out of Hawaii, and can you attest to any of this that I'm saying? Or can you tell me how they mandate a quarantine if you are required to quarantine whenever you get to your destination? How do they enforce that? Okay, let me know what you think below. Don't forget to like this video. Don't forget to share this video, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you guys so much, and have a good one. Bye-bye.